Hello? Okay, I was working. My microphone was off, which would have been embarrassing if there was anybody to watch. Uh, Hold on, what is this? What is this here? Okay, we're gonna continue working on what we were working on before, and yeah, that's about all there is to be said about that. I did have this handy to-do list. Let me put it right over here at the corner, the lower corner, and we're gonna be checking items from there. Once we're done with those, we should probably be done for the day. Although I doubt we're gonna be done with all of those before the end of today, but one can hope, right? So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Well, that's what I'm gonna be doing today. So what I had before was this. I don't know why it doesn't open this scene just by default. It usually does that, right? It usually does. Oh no, the scene is open. It's just the stuff is not visible until you play, right? Right? Yes. Okay. That's what's happening. Right. So we have this. We have this little guy. We have our movement system, and we have and he just moves, and locations get properly indexed within the world, and that's what we have so far, right? So what we want now is to the game works. I mean, the systems underlying to the game work, but we don't yet have like a win condition and what happens when you win, and any sort of challenge at all, do we? So that's gonna be the thing that we're gonna be working on today. First of all, what I wrote on the to-do list is a door to finish. Now I wrote a door, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a door. A door is just convenient because then you get to use keys, right? However, if I'm going to do coins needed for the door, then that's just kind of moot. I guess at that point I might as well just make it like a little flag, right? Create a first set of levels and the color system. We're going to do the other two because they are going to inform how we're going to want to do the color system. So we want to do the door and the coins, or lock and keys. They don't necessarily have to be those, but that's the easiest thing to understand. So I guess we're gonna have to start. The first thing that we should do, I know that it's probably easier if I make the assets just from the get-go. But I think I'm going to be programming the behavior first. So first I'm going to need some placeholder assets, right? I'm going to need to add them to my little sprite atlas that I made. So let's go here to resources. We have this. Oh, we made these stars. So what did we make these for? No clue. I don't think they're usable, but we can definitely use them as placeholders if nothing else. So first we're going to need to create the item that is the door that you need to touch to finish the level. So let's start with that. First of all, we're going to have to copy the structure for one of the prefabs that we've already done. So let's say the wall. Then create an empty from this. And this is going to be the... I was going to call it door, but let's call it finish. Until I decide what it's going to be, let's be non-specific, right? Finish. This is our finish. It has to have the same proportions. So this is 2.35 on scale. On all scale parameters. 2.35, and this is right here. So then we give it a sprite render, and we're gonna just feed it this, one of these stars, right? And we're gonna make it yellow so that it pops out. None of this is definitive. Actually, let's make it like orange since the level is already yellow, right? We don't care about the looks, we just want functionality right now. So we have this finish star right here, and it needs a couple of things in order for the grid system to recognize it. So those are the world positioner and shit, never mind, that's it, right? Okay, so next it has to have the proper tag. So it'll have to be, let's call it finish. 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 Excuse me. Oh, what's going on here? Well, why are you not letting me add the tag? Any errors? No? Oh, is finish a name? Like a... Yeah, finish is probably a reserved name. Okay, let's call it end then. And yeah, it lets me do that. Okay. So we're just gonna call this end then, so just so that the names match. And end tag is end. Okay, so that should be good enough to make it into a prefab. Right? And then we can eliminate this, and just put it in this field. We're gonna put it on row 2. The rightmost item is going to be an end. So first of all, let's just check that it fits within the grid and everything works the way it should. Right, it works. What happens when I try to move into it? It doesn't let me. Okay. So, we have a door, it fits into the grid, but right now it does nothing. So then we have to make that do something. I'm thinking a checkered flag would be like a better solution. I'll null it over. This guy is kind of like a spider, so maybe like a cobweb. I don't think that works though. I'll have to think about it. Okay, so behavior, right? First thing that should happen is that the player should be allowed to go into it. So, player movement. Yeah, player movement. So what does player movement do? When it tries movement, it first changes the facing, then moves its grid position to the position in the desired world. Yeah, this is the position script, right? So this is just the script that holds the positions of everything in the world, should it not be. And then script level generator instead. No, wait, what? What is this? Oh, you just returned that, right? Why do you return that? Isn't it like a public variable? Well, why did I code it like that? It's the world positioner, right? It's position script, yes. Oh, it's the int version of it, right? Okay, yeah. That's what's good on, because usually it's a vector too. Those are floats, and sometimes I want an int. That's why it's a function. So then get the grid position, direction to vector. Right, and here's where you check whether it's a wall or space. And yeah, so we want to check another case. This is case end. So in the case that we're going in against the end of the level, we're going to want to do something else. But what do we want to do, right? That should be behavior that is coded within the end guy, because that's the only way, because that way it's more modular. So then I can have the guy have its own script where it checks how many coins or how many of these collectible, or whether the right collectible. Actually, that's a good question. Because I would want to pair them up, right? Well, actually, I don't have any level ideas where that's necessarily what I would want, but don't have to think it over. Right, I'm gonna want keys that are linked to doors, or rather, openings that are linked to endings. But the issue with that is that I can't. Oh boy, yeah, I could generate a link pair of keys and doors. Because the issue that I'm finding, right, is that usually you fix that by putting the object in the world and giving it like a variable that works for that, right? But since I'm having everything be generated by this generator script that generates the whole field of the game, I can't have variables preset. So, oh hey next. So yeah, if I can't have variables preset, then I'm gonna need to. What would I do then? I could just generate the door and then feed the door a world position, and then that world position is replaced by a key, right? But say, hold on. Does that work? I don't. Because then that's something that the world positioner has to handle, and then that doesn't free me from just having keys. How do I make keys identifiable with a door? Ooh, oh, wait, hold on. I could store the value of each key, like which door it opens, as the color of that sprite. Does that work? Does that work? Does it work? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because then I still have to pass that value. It's just exactly the same, just stored in a different variable. Hold on, how do I do this? This shouldn't be difficult. I could just have different prefabs, but that feels messy. It's not really a scalable solution, right? But then again, when am I gonna have 10 different keys, right? But then again, what if I do want 10 different keys? I could just store that data within the level generator. So give the level generator a pair of coordinates, and then each of those represents a key pair. And then it sets those values for each door. That's messy, but it works. So Hmm. I don't like that solution. I don't like it. But it's the only one that I can think of right now. Okay, let's try to think of something better. Because the issue is that I may want to have more than one key, so I can't do key pairs. It's gonna have to be like an arbitrarily long array of keys because I am definitely going to want times where you have to collect more than one key to open a single door. Or rather to get to the singular end of a level. So how do I link them through this field generator, this level generator? Oh god, I didn't think I was going to run into a roadblock this early. This is kind of too much. Too early for this. Hey Nex, if you're watching, by the way, could you tell me like how the rice bowl is looking? Like just to make sure, like if there's nothing catastrophically wrong looking about it. Because obviously I can look about it in OBS, but only, when I'm looking at it, I'm looking in a certain specific direction. So for all I know, when I'm looking at my other monitor, he's just like freaking the fuck out, right? Only you're watching, don't bother yourself with it. Okay, so how do I do this? I want this door to open only on certain conditions. And then those conditions need to be set from the keys themselves, right? So this level generator is going to know. No, it's not going to know. It's not going to know jack shit. When one of the keys gets collected, it pings the level generator with where it is. It looks fine enough. I just gonna leave the body if you look far enough. Don't know if that's what you're going for. Oh no, it for sure is what I'm going for. Like that was very much on purpose, right? That's because I mean it looks the same as this other thing up here. That one. It may leave like a lot more than I intended to, but yeah, it's on purpose. Thank you for telling me. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, so I will need the. It's a shame that I couldn't get the mouth sync working. I did find how to do it from my phone, so that was good. But the problem is that it was this app that was paid. But not this app, right? The issue is that the app already exists on the phone, but in order to hook it up to VTube Studio, that's the thing that costs money, right? Which it doesn't feel like it should. Like, honestly, it feels like I could probably code something that just does that for me, right? At least to the level that I want. I am not denying that the thing that you're paying for probably has some uses that are, quite complicated. To be fair, it's not expensive. It's just I wasn't going to pay for, this. So yeah, point is I couldn't get the mouth sync, the voice, or rather the phone, the facial tracking from the phone, right? Which like is gonna be better. Not even because the phone is better at face tracking, just purely because the camera is better. Like the shitty webcam that I have on this computer is not good, right? But whatever, it's whatever. It's just a little story. Okay, well, why am I going on about this? Well, how do I solve this issue? How do I create a door? Right, a little door item, which right now is just a little star. How do I create one that can be linked to specific objects or receive messages from specific objects? That's the issue I'm facing right now, right? And so what I would want is that there's a thing and you grab it, and then the door unlocks or opens or disappears. Oh, you know, that's a good idea. Because then the doors don't have to actually receive. Yeah, then the door doesn't have to actually receive an item. Yeah, the door doesn't have to be enabled to receive anything. Just the key has to have the message to delete the door. And so the only thing that has to store the data is the key. And that's a lot easier because I don't have to have data interlinked. Right? But, okay, but then how can I do pieces of a key? How can I do multiple that will work in that way that I want? Where you have to grab multiple in order to open a path to the end of the level, or just end the level. Right? Okay. I could do both of those things. Just a key that replaces a tile with another, and then that tile is always going to be a door replaced by an empty space usually. And then I could have a system within the level generator that is counting how many collectible objects were generated and then triggers something depending on when that number reaches, say, 0. Right? That should be possible. Let's start with the first one because it is easier-ish. So I already have this end of level thing, right? This end of level object. This one. It's definitely not gonna look like that. So then what do I need for that? I need how can I make it clear that it's an end of the level that is currently inactive? Because I'm thinking like a checkered flag, right? Like a checkered flag would do it. But how do I make it clear that it is not active, right? Like I could have it not raised, but that raises the complication of drawing because I have a very tiny space and the checkered flag is not a complicated pattern, but it's a very dense pattern, right? So maybe not a checkered flag, maybe just a normal flag. Okay. I'm being very unfocused here. Why am I thinking of the art when I explicitly said that I was going to use a star so that I wouldn't have to do that right now? Okay, so what do I want? I want an object that when collected, let's say, when passed over, destroys an object and switches it by something else. So first of all, the destroying of the object has to be handled by the field generator, right? The field generator, the level generator, is who knows where each thing is, and so it needs. So when there's a change in the field, this guy needs to be aware, and if this guy is going to need to be aware, then he might as well be the one handling it, right? So this switches two objects in two different positions. I want a different function that, rather than switching two objects into different positions, replaces one for another, right? So public void replace object. It'll need two variables. One is the position of the object to replace. The second is the object to replace it with. Ideally, this would be a prefab, right? And then we have to do all the data handling. Basically, what we need to do is go to the position 1, and we have to take that game object and we have to destroy it, right? So this is the script that holds the game object. We're going to need the object itself. So within that, access game object and then destroy it, right? Destroy it. Then I'm going to need to instantiate. Right, I'm going to need to instantiate that prefab, and I'm going to have to use the same method that I do here to instantiate every individual. No, not here. It's the role managers. Those are the ones that do that. So these guys. But I have to instantiate them using the same method so that I can be sure that the data is working. So people call position objects create object and position object, right? Oh, but I'm going to want to instantiate it at the position because otherwise it's going to be generated in the world origin. And I don't want that. And also this creates every single object, so it wouldn't have worked anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna need to handle these. So I'm gonna need a new function that just creates one during runtime, right? Yeah. So then runtime create, and it's going to receive the same two parameters. It's going to receive the position and the prefab that is to be created. And we just pass those from here. So you take that row, do runtime create, and you give it the position and the prefab. Which, I mean, technically I could have just accessed that function from here instead of this one, but this makes it neater because then the row index only talks to the level generator, and the level generator holds the entire field rather than this weird structure where it holds, like, it doesn't actually hold the entire field. It just is the one who you come to when you need to access anyone in the field, right? It just makes it easier just to visualize where each step of the data is, right? So then runtime create is going to take that vector to its position. It's going to create a prefab. So exactly the same as this. It's going to do slots, but the position that we want is pos point. Y is the y-axis, so we need the x. And that is going to be the result of instantiating the prefab object in vector 3. Okay, so instead of vector 3, 0, it has to be converting to vector. No, it's not going to let me just convert it to vector 3 because it's a vector to int. Okay, so position vector 3. Okay, we need a variable of type vector 3 that is going to be the position that we're going to create this in. And that position is going to be the same as this, but instead of a vector 2 of integers, it's going to be just a vector 3. So that is new vector 3, and each component of it is position point x, position point x, position point y, and since there's no z in a vector 2, it is just 0. And these two must be converted to float rather than integers, like that. And so that's going to be the position that you spawn this in. Quaternary identity and transform because it's a child of u. And then in there get this world positioner component. Right. And then that world positioner component plots position x and call yeah, world position. Actually, it's right here, right? Isn't it? Yep. So I want to take this positioner component and tell it that its desired world position is going to be just the position that was in pos. So the one that was passed, right? And that should be enough. So now I have a function in level generator that can replace an object with another that is created, right? During runtime. So then what, right? So then I'm going to need to create those keys, and those keys are going to need to access this function, and they would create that, right? They would do that. The problem is that those keys need to. Whoa! What happened there? The problem is that those keys now need to hold a value, right? They need to hold a position that they're going to do that to, and they're going to need to hold a prefab for what they replace the thing with. The prefab is easy enough because that can just be an empty, right? That's no issue at all. But it's the position, right? So because the issue is that I can't make the position a generic, because then that makes it so that I can't use them in different ways in different levels, right? Very, very complicated question. Like, what would be a nice way to structure it, right? Because if I just need to get the job done, I know that I can just put in the level generator a variable that is a stack of like extra data, and then have whenever a key is created just take from that stack. But that doesn't feel very nice, right? Because then there's no visual way to link one to the other when I'm creating them, and that's just gonna make it more difficult to make levels later down the line, isn't it? So ideally, I would want the keys to hold that value and then me be able to assign it to them. But I already know that is impossible because the keys are not in the world. They're just created. Unless I were to put keys in the world and then just make the rows aware of those keys, and then they just reposition them as needed. That feels silly. That feels like it couldn't work. Just a key grabber thing? Mm. Just as an added comment, just in case you needed to know. The light in my room doesn't work, so I have my phone's flashlight directly pointed at my face in the hopes of making the face tracking a little bit better. And I'm getting a bit flashbanged by it, not gonna lie. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's a bit bright. My eyes have gotten used to it by now, though. When I turned it out initially, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to use it just because I wouldn't be able to see. I can see fine. I'm good. This is not harmful to your eye, right? No, it's not that bright of a light. Wouldn't be. I would hope not. Oh, what's a better way to handle that data? This shouldn't be so hard. Okay, I gotta decide on something. So let's just make it so that each Okay, let's just first make it so that those... Yeah, okay. So I have this prefab that is an end. Since this ended up being so simple, let's just copy it. So let's just take this, unpack it completely, and then I'm going to just change the sprite a little bit. So instead of being orange, it's going to be green. We're going to change the tag as well. It's going to be a collectible. This collectible goes right here. It's going to be called collectible to match the names. And then this is going to be another prefab, right? This is the collectible. And so the idea is to have a just a thing that tells it what to do when it is collected, right? So making it really generic because I may want to have things do other things. So let's create a script when collected. And then we're going to need to check the enums because I think that I'm going to want to do something like that. Right, okay, so check the enums and check this new variable that we made, this when collected. And so the idea is that uh, oh wait. Oh, but I can check the tag. Right, that's the purpose of the tag. Yeah, never mind. I just had a huge brain fart. Okay, so when collected, we're going to need an enum that is going to be like our reactions to being collected. So public enum action, right? And we're just gonna have one for now, but then we're probably gonna need another one later. So action destroy, right? Oh, hold on. Okay. Let's just have, right, because if I want the others where you have to collect multiple, oh god, I'm getting so stun-locked here today. It's just not a good coding day, which makes sense. It's been a long day, actually, so I'm probably not performing on my best. Let's not be so aspirational with the to-do list. Let's just do probably just a couple, and then I'll be done. I'll probably do the color after this. So we want. Do we need this? I don't think we need this, right? We don't need this. So let's just save that. We want this when collected, and so what it's going to do is it's going to hold public vector2 of integers. And so that integer of vector2, that vector2 of integers is going to tell it which position it's going to replace with which game object, and the game object is going to be here. So game object replace with. We can handle that with bools actually, rather than just. Oh, but hold on. Oh! I forgot. What the fuck? How the hell? Is it going to? See, the issue is that, yeah, how the hell is it going to know which spot to go to? It's this variable, but I don't get to set this variable from the inspector. That's the whole issue. We'll come up with a way to do that. Okay. Idea. What if I place this object in the world? And then reference this from here. Oh, but the issue is that the row index is instantiating stuff. It's not. It doesn't know. It has no way to know which objects are or aren't prefabs. Can it? have tags, right? So I could just give each row index an array of additional data. So just like each one of these should have just additional data that is exactly what it sounds like it would be. So just public. And this additional, it's going to come in the form of vector to integers, right? To be additional. And I call it additional because I don't exactly know who's going to be requesting it when. But the whole idea is that as you're creating objects, if that object has the collectible tag, then you know that it's going to be requesting some data, so you feed it to it, right? So then we're going to also need an integer I that is the additional index. So let's call it add index, and it starts at 0. And I don't know why I wrote it like that. It shouldn't go like that. It should be this additional index. And so if the object that you just created has a tag and that tag equals collectible, then you're going to feed this collectible the current bit of additional data. So additional collectible, yeah. So then you're going to feed. Oh, but how do you? Ooh, I hate it. Okay, you know what? This is only going to happen when the levels are generated, which is not a problem. So then there's probably a clever way to do this, actually. Like rather than getting component, it could just. Oh, but that's such a pain in the ass. Yeah, I hate doing that. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do slots I dot get component, and it's going to fetch me the when collected component. That's the script. And then on that script, we're going to tell it, hey, this replace coordinate is not actually whatever got set up there. It's actually going to be the current bit of additional info that I have set to be giving objects that request it. So well, actually they're not requesting it. I'm just determining it. But you know, additional. The index is add index, and then we're done with that index. So then we advance the add index by 1. And then the beauty of this, right, is that when we're done creating every object, we no longer need either of these variables. So then I can just make them null. So additional equals null, and then add index equals null. Are these even nullable types? They're probably not, are they? And so, whatever, I'll find out when I compile, right? So then, what do you do? So now I know that these two are going to be set, right? So then the idea is that when this is collected, but how is it going to know that it has been collected? Well, the player is going to know, right? So when the player is about to move into a collectible type object, collectible, then what it's going to do. It's going to do something similar to when it moves into a space, but rather than switching the objects, it's going to replace the objects. No, it is not, actually. Because that should be the object of this. This guy knows what happens when it's collected. You don't. So then, right, we're going to need to reference this actually then, because then we're going to want to know what this object actually is here. Just for a little bit, yeah. Bumped object, let's call it. So, script row index? No, it's not that. What is it? It's row index has it. It's the world positioner, yes. So give me the world positioner script of the object that has been bumped is this whole monster minus the tag, and then within that object, would you check the tag of the bumped object? Bumped. Then, right, if it's a collectible, then you do bumped point get component. This is messy. I'm using get component way too much. Okay. This is not a high performance game. More importantly, I have a very limited time to complete this. So I say that using get component is fine, actually. It's not. It shouldn't be, but you know. Script when collected. We get the script of what happens when it is collected, and we are going to call a function within it, and that function is going to be just execute, right? Yeah, execute, because I may want different stuff to happen, and then this should be the component that knows what that stuff is. So execute. Right? So when you're collected, you are going to know what to do. And for now, it's going to be really simple. First, you First, you replace this object. So first, we're going to need to access the level generator. Okay. I've figured it out. Public. Execute. We're going to need to access the level generator instance, and we're going to need to tell it to replace an object. Now, you already have the data of the objects that I want to replace. So the position that I want to replace is the replace coordinate, and the object that I want to replace it with is the one that is called replace with. Couldn't be simpler, right? But then also, because it's a collectible, it should itself be collected. So it should be replaced with empty space. So then we're going to do this. Replace chord. Yeah, we're just gonna give you the reference. This one actually can hold it, so public script. It's not level generator, it is world positioner, because that's the one that holds our current position. Coordinate script. And we're going to do replace coordinate script point desired world position, I think. Yeah, desired world position. Integer desired world position. And replace with... Actually, what am I doing? If it's a collectible, then it should be the player that collects it, right? So this is easier also because I do get the positions. They're already calculated. I'm having trouble speaking today. They're already calculated, right? So that is what grid position is. So we're going to give it grid position. We're going to tell it replace with an empty. An empty. Yes, an empty. So the player is going to need to have an empty. Or consider this, consider this, consider this. No. I tell him no. And then the level generator knows, oh, when I receive a null, then I get to replace with an empty. So... Oh, that makes it so that I can just do this. Now let's just use replace with. That's easier. Null. Yeah. If prefab equals null, then make sure to that prefab is that empty prefab. Prefab equals empty prefab, right? And then we're going to need a reference to that. So we're going to need this here. Public game object empty prefab. And then there's another thing that I want to do. And that is that you do hold a reference to the checker pattern. So... Ooh, shouldn't the checker pattern... Okay, hold on. That can be handled by the color system. And in fact, it probably very much should. So let's cool it with that. It would be a nice feature, but I'm gonna need to overhaul it when I actually do the color system. So let's not do that. Let's not waste time on that. No. I think that should be it. That should let me do what I need to do. That's such a fucking tangle of logic, though. It's not nice. Unity is kind of not made for you to handle world positions with your own thing, like in a grid, I'm realizing. Okay, I wrote something wrong. Method must have a return type when collected line 10, which seems to be a thing that I always forget to type this little void. Cannot convert null to int because it's a non-nullable type. That is in row index, line number 30. Yeah, it's kind of what I just thought. Okay, just make this 0. It's fine. The name position 1 does not exist in the current context, which is level generator 82. Position 1, right. It's not position 1, it's just position. Right, okay. So then this collectible, this is a prefab. So then what that lets me do, right, is to have on this prefab, I can have on this row, I can have on the first empty this little collectible, and then this additional data, I tell it, hey, actually, I want this collectible to be pointing to, this would be row, okay. What row would this be? Because the issue is my indexing is all out of whack, so it's not going to be those numbers. So row 3 is the one that's in 0, 0, 0. Row 2 is the one in 0, 1, 0. This is 0, 0, 0. Right, okay. So what's happening here? Row index 24 Row index 24. Oh god, one of all this shit is not set to an instance of an object. Add index is just 0. So in the element 0 is 0, 0. Get component script when collected. Oh, does the collectible just not have that script that it should have? Yeah, that's the meme. Okay, script when collected, and then we eliminate you. We don't actually care. Let's say that the coordinate script is this, and the replace coordinate. Yeah, that one is set up by the level indexer. So I did not update the prefab. I just lost those changes. Okay, come here. Script when collected. The coordinate script is your same one. Yes, I do want to override. Now I delete you. Okay. That's not what I even wanted to do right now. I wanted to check what the coordinates were. So this is 0, 2, this is 0, 1, this is 0, 0. Okay. Let's just give them actual names then. Row 0, row 1, row 2. And then that makes it easy to find. Okay, so this collectible is going to need to find this end. It's going to be as one, yeah, it's going to be 1, 7. So no, it is going to be 7, 1 because it's the other way around. Okay. Okay, good. So the collectible when bumped effectively deletes the door. The issue is that it didn't get consumed. So the variable empty prefab of level generator, yeah, okay, I know what that is. This level generator needs an empty prefab, and that is this. Otherwise, it doesn't know what to replace the space when we don't tell it to occupy by nothing. Okay, so that happened, and then we also need to move the player to that space, right? So level generator, no. The player is going to tell it to replace the object with an empty space, and then switch that empty space with the player. So actually it's this, it's exactly this line. Let's double check. We're going into the level generator instance, we're telling it to switch objects, and the two positions that we're going to give it is our current position and the position that we're moving into. So that's going to make it so that the object first gets deleted, switched for an empty space, and then switched with the player, so that it gives this effect as if the player has collected it. Obviously, we need to make it feel actually good. The object, the object, ooh, excuse me. The object reacts in the code and modifies the data in the way as if it's been collected, but it doesn't look yet as if it's been collected. It just seems weird that when you touch something, two things disappear. That is easy enough to do. I'm just gonna have to make the object have to head to a different position kind of off screen. But for now that works, right? And then you have this space that you can go out of. Yeah, you can't, but the idea would be that, you know, that green space is actually a door, and then you grab a little key, the door opens with a little effect, and then you can touch a little end square, and that is what you do, right? Okay, so since I can feel myself fading because of the long day, I'm just going to do one more thing. Even though I could do more items, the fact that this was so difficult probably means that I should stop right here. I have a lot of free time tomorrow, so I'm going to more than make up for it then, right? Which actually there's other stuff I need to do, but we'll worry. I'll worry about that. But for now, instead of keeping banging my head against the grid system, instead I'm just going to do a little script that handles the colors of each level. So the way that this is going to go is that it's going to need, I'm going to need a script that holds a bunch of colors, right? So we're gonna do script, create t-shirt script color system. Also, let's just modify this to do, because this we already do. Coins needed for door. I know that they're not coins and they're not multiple collectibles, but essentially the whole system is there, and I just need to manipulate it in order to do the stuff that I want to do. So that is pretty much as good as that. Then this color system, it's going to need a couple of things. First, color, public. All of these variables need to be public. Public, color, background. I want it to be per level, right? Because a good way to differentiate sets of levels in games with this sort of simple art style is just by changing the sort of the color, right? Babe's You does it. It's a good technique, and then you have different tiles for different sets of levels as well if you want to do a little bit of theming. But changing the colors is a good enough way to give the player this sense of progression, right? I find. I mean, it works for me, right? We're going to need a background color. We're also going to need a element color. We're going to need a highlight color. And I think we're going to do fine with just those three, right? If we need more, we can set that up. And we're also going to need a darken, right? Yeah, a darkener factor. This function is going to replace the old checkerboard pattern, because it's going to have to handle both of those. So public float darken factor, and this is going to be to achieve that checker effect, which every other block has a slightly different color, right? Right. So then what this is going to do basically is if you give it a tile and a world position, it's going to spit out a color, right? So we're going to need a function. Yep, function. Public. No, it's not going to be public. Yeah. Public. Okay, we're going to need a couple of functions. Switch all colors. Right? We're going to need a function public switch colors, switch color single, and we're going to need a, this one is not actually public, also void is going to be a function that it's just, it returns a color and it tells us which color the tile that we're gonna passing it needs. So tile get color. Also, you're gonna have to give me 1 second because I need to go to the restroom. So be right back. Hold on 1 second. fucking hell. Okay, so remember how I said that I had a light pointing at me on my face, right? Why am I speaking like that? Remember when I said that I had a light pointing at me at my face in the hopes that the face tracking is better, right? I don't know how much actually that is affecting it, but so I had my phone with its flashlight on, which actually let me check that it's not overheating or anything. Yeah, no, it's fine. Um, so I had the flashlight on my phone pointed at my face, right? And it's dark, and when I when I came out of the bathroom, I looked at the opposite wall, and it was being lit, right, by the phone. But because the phone is in an unusual position, because there's a light coming from an unusual position, the shadow from being cast from my desk chair on that wall spooked the fuck out of me. Like, holy shit, I was convinced that somebody was standing there, even though that shadow being cast did not even look vaguely human. Like, it just didn't. But the fact that it was there in a place where there usually never is a shadow, I was convinced I was going to die. I was convinced. What was I doing? Yeah, some coding shit. Yeah. Near-death experience, though, for sure. Not clickbait. Always. Be sure to like and survive. Okay. We need to a function that gets the color from a tile. So it needs two things. Actually, it only needs one, which is the position, right? And then it can query the level generator for the thing that is in that tile, and then from there get the tag. So let's do that. It just needs a position, so vector to int position, and it's going to, the idea is this function takes a position and then spits the color of the item that goes in that position. This function is going to be used by the other two, and also this shouldn't be public. This just doesn't need to be. Right. So then what it needs to do, in order to know which color it should be used, because each element is going to be a slightly different color, it's going to be, it's going to need to know what element is in that position. Now, the guy who knows what element is in which position is, of course, the level generator. The level generator. The level generator has this function that, given a coordinate, returns the element. It actually returns a script, but from that we can access a bunch of things about the element, so it's not a problem. So we just give it the position that we received, and then we check what's the tag of that object. So depending on what tag it is, we're going to need to do different stuff. So this is the moment for a switch case. Case. This tag is right. What's the list of tags that I have? The player holds all of them. He knows. So we have wall, space, and uncollectible. Wall. Whoa. Wall and space should be the same color. And uncollectible should use the highlight color. And you know, I'm definitely, this is definitely subject to change, but let's just start with that. So wall, wall, yeah. If it is a wall or space, the switch case work like that. Actually, can I just do or statements in that? Because I may need to change that. If it is wall or space, then actually just compile that. Tell me if it even works before I even keep going. because that may affect the logic a little bit. Syntax error that expected. Where is that? I forgot this. Color system get color vector to int. Not all code paths return. Wait, that's the error? Cannot be applied to operands of type string and string. Right. Okay. So switch doesn't work like that. So I'm gonna have to do an if-else if chain, which is never nice, but you know. I didn't want to delete all that. Okay, so we want. Let's store it in a tag. String tag object tag, right? I can't use tag because there's already a variable named tag, so I will be replacing that, and that's no bueno. Object tag equals the tag of the object at position. Also, it's not just get. It's a good thing I caught this early because it's not just get element at coordinate. I have to specifically say that I want the level generator to be the one to do that, because the level generator. There's something about that word that makes it difficult to say in my accent. Level generator. It's weird because I don't usually get tongue-tied a lot, you know? Like, saying shit weird, sure, but getting tongue-tied is not like a thing, you know? Level generator. It's the R's, man. English R's are weird. Level generator instance. Get the element of the coordinate and I give you the position, and then from that object I get the tag. Then I check that tag. What is that tag? If object tag equals wall or hold on, there's probably a better way to write this. No, it's I could write that in like one line, but that wouldn't be very good. It's just I know. Oh man, the eye tracking is actually not bad. I get distracted by that, sorry. I need to still looking at this fucking puppet. But like, it really is neat how it works, right? I don't know. I just like it. Okay. Enough of that. If the object tag is wall, or if the object tag is empty, then the thing that we want is to we want to return, right? We want to we don't want to return get. Yes, we want color to return. So color to return. And so we want this. So yeah, color to return is going to be equal to the highlight, the element color, right? But we don't want to return it yet. If the object tag is neither of those two things, then we want to check if the object tag is maybe the other two, which is end and collectible. End or the object tag is collectible, but except these are strings, so they need to be encased. And then the color that we want to return is actually, I don't need those brackets. These are single line statements. Then the color to be returned is the highlight color. If it is the player, the color should probably just be white, right? Yeah, let's just make it else. If it's neither of those, then just return color white and be done with it, right? But if that is not the case, then we're going to want to darken that color if it is part of if it is we want to darken the colors in a checkerboard pattern. Luckily, I already figured out how to do that. It's actually not even difficult. It's just this. So I compare the numbers of the current coordinate, and if they do match this condition, so that is if both components, if either both components are or aren't, so XOR operation, then we darken it. So, right? But except it's not I and J, it is instead position point X and position point Y. It doesn't really matter the order position point Y. And then if this is true, then I want to darken the color. And in order to darken the color, what you can do is just this function. I'm just going to use this same function, except we're going to use it to return a color. So it returns a color, and it says darken color, right? And it receives a color. Color, new color. We have a new color, and that color equals just the color that we received times the darken factor. But then we want to set its A to 1 because we want to reduce all the components except the alpha. We don't want it to be transparent. Also, that thing that happens sometimes with a little rice ball, I've realized what it is. It's when I put my hand in my face, which I tend to do a lot apparently. Like it just makes it whoa. Like the camera doesn't really know what's going on. So I need to stop doing that. I need to stop putting my hand on my face. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not a good streamer. It's a secret. I'm not a good streamer. I mean, I already knew that. It's funny, you tune into a one viewer stream. It's either because you're that person's friend or because you want to see some trash. What was I doing? Fucking hell, I'm so scatterbrained today. That isn't good. Okay. Just a little bit and I'll be done. Yeah, I take the new color, take its alpha component, make it 1F, and then return it. Return new color, and then that's it. So if this condition matches, then return color to return. No, return the result of darkening the color to return. Otherwise, just return the color to return. Without darkening, just base. Color to return. And yeah, the darken factor is called the same, but it should be lowercase. Keep doing this thing where I forget to properly capitalize my shit. Like, these are variables, they shouldn't be uppercased. Well, it's not like it's a rule, it doesn't actually affect anything, right? But it makes it more neater when everything is the same. That way every variable is named exactly what you expect it to be named, and you don't have to spend a lot of time just searching around. That's why nerdoid programmers are so anal about this kind of shit. Well, also because nerdoid programmers just have sticks up their asses a lot of the time. Okay, Stack Overflow is a bad website. No, it's not. It's not a bad website, but it's populated by bad people. Hey, if you post a Stack Overflow, fuck you. Okay, that's a bit harsh. If you answer questions on Stack Overflow, fuck you. I mean, it reads like a bit, right? It's not like I'm being, it's not, obviously I'm overgeneralizing here. Switch all colors, switch color single. Okay, so these are the thing that I want. So switch all colors should go over all of the tiles and then call switch color single to change the color of it. So let's start by doing switch color single. Switch color single should receive a position. Yeah, it should receive a position. So vector to integer, it receives a position, and then from that position, it's going to call the level generator, and it's going to ask it, hey, level generator, I need to know who is in this position. So level generator instance. That's really difficult to pronounce. And the question I want to ask you is to give me the element at coordinate, and the coordinate is the position. Having that element, I want to get its sprite renderer component. How is the checker pattern doing that? Oh, it's just doing the same thing. Okay. Sprite renderer component. Sprite renderer. Right? And now this sprite renderer component is the one that holds the thing. So then I want to know which color I should set that to. So I'm going to ask myself, that is to say this function right over here, which colors should go in that position, right? So having the sprite renderer component, I'm going to access its color property, and we're going to set it to whatever this returns. God, look at that single line function. What a fucking mess. But I mean, it works, right? Then to switch all colors, this one should receive the rows from the level generator, right? So it receives the whole grid, and then since level generator max size is a public variable, then I get to go, yeah, I get to do the exact same thing as the checker pattern, actually. No, it's not. Oh, but I can just do it like this, actually. I don't need to access public variables. So then, just do this. Okay, let's check that that is actually what I wanted to do. Start at 0, count until the length of the map. It's not the map, I'm calling it the grid. And then from each of those rows, start from 0, count until the length of each individual row, going up. And then ij is my, well, actually it's ji. It's ji. J is the horizontal because that is for each row left to right. So, having had that, what I want to do is switch color single that position. So that position is new vector to int, and the positions are j and I. And that should do it. That should just straight up do it. Now the idea is this function, I call it from the level generator, but only once I've already generated each each game object, right? Because that's otherwise it's not going to be able to find the sprite renderers that it needs to change the color to, because they're not going to exist yet. So then I need to go to the level generator, and first of all I need to make sure that the level generator knows the color system. It needs to know who he is. Color script, right? Then once we have positioned all the rows, calculated the size, positioned all the objects. No, hold on. Positioned all the rows. Yeah, okay, right here. We're going to take this color system and we're going to tell it, hey, color system, switch all the colors. Here's the grid. Color script, switch all the colors. Here's the grid. And the grid is the rows. Here. Then it should handle everything else on its own. And the only thing that we have left now is the background color. Okay, there is another thing that we wanted to do, but we're gonna first see if all this logic worked to begin with, right? So modifier public is not valid for this item. What are you thinking of? It's color system 17. So this public void. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a function. Oh, okay. Yep, that's what's happening. I just forgot a sprite render does not contain, yeah, because it's lowercase, not uppercase. 19, it is color, and they probably made that exact same mistake somewhere else. Level generator does not contain a definition for level generator. It's line 24 on level generator. Sorry, what? Color system, line 24. Okay. Script level yep, no, that's what it is. I just wrote the thing twice. The name colon. What? Did I just mean to type a colon and just instead of typing a colon ended up writing the word colon? No, I probably just misspelled color. 40. Where? 40 in color. Yep. Okay. If it was the other thing I said, I would have felt so ridiculous. Okay. So now what I need to do, this checker pattern script doesn't exist anymore. It's not, we don't like it. Then what we want is actually the color system. So the field should have a reference to the color system, and the color script should know it. Now the background, we're gonna make it just the same as the one that we gave the camera earlier. So by earlier I mean 2 streams ago. Rendering, stack, environment, this one. So it's this. Also, why are you transparent, man? That's not right. We'll give it this number. The element. Let's make it blue, just so that we can check that it works. Just this light blue. And the highlight color is going to be like just kind of weird salmony orange, like this. We can check if stuff is working. We can come up with a nicer color palette later. Okay, yes, the darken factor is 0, which it shouldn't be. Let's make it 0.85. Right, okay, so for some reason the empties are generating with a white color. So let's get that fixed. These empties are generating with a white color. The color to return element Yeah, they should be getting this color returned. So what's going on? Is the object tag just not empty? Did I write it wrong at some point? Brain empties. Oh, it's space. That's the object tag. Okay, space. Also, I'm realizing, change the color made me realize a problem with the asset. And I know I said I was going to just do the color system, but this is an easy enough problem to fix that I think I'm just gonna do it. So the issue is that they look kind of unnatural because the borders are clearer. The borders should be darker because they are not the main part of the brick texture. So let's show it in Explorer and then open this in PaintNet. And this issue is easy to fix, right? So that's why I'm doing it. So I mean, it's as simple as boop-a-da-da, 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 boop-a-da, boop-a-da-da, da. Then here we grab this color, we paint everything the other color, then we take this, we invert the selection, we take the magic wand, we subtract from the selection the transparent, and then we paint the other color. And that should be not stellar, but a lot better, right? And let's just do that, save this. Yeah, do save it. And that should make them look, again, not stellar. None of these sprites are final, but nicer, just a lot nicer. Yeah, there you go. That has that look that I want. This is what it looks in the actual game size, right? Right. So that's the issue now. When objects change position, they don't have their color updated to what it should be, right? So what we want is to fix that, and that should be easy. I've definitely given myself the tools that doing that should be easy. So let's take the level generator is the one that is in charge of doing those switches. So it should be the one that is in charge of telling the color system what to do. So when you switch to objects, you should update each of their colors. So color system, switch color single, switch color single, and I want you to switch the position 1, and then switch color single position 2. And since replacing an object does that at the end, no it doesn't. Let's just make super sure, because I may eventually want to do that, and by the time I get to that point I'm going to have forgotten how color system works. It's going to be a whole thing. So let's, even though it shouldn't be necessary right now, let's fix it right now so that saves us some headaches later, hopefully. Also, it's just one line, so why wouldn't you? And then these switch color simple functions are from the color script, so we have to make sure that to tell it that it is that we want to call. This is the power of modular programming, functional programming. Okay, so this is a bit too subtle to it's a bit too subtle to know if it's happening properly on the switch. So let's just make this really exaggerated, right? Like 0.2. And that should make the checker pattern just really stark. Just some tiles are super dark. Yeah, like that. Which actually doesn't look bad. I could probably get away with that look if I change the background color a bit. Okay. Yeah, you see the empty space? It switches color to the corresponding to match the grid pattern. Oh yeah, this is taking shape. Okay, what happens if I collect that? They get properly changed. This is very good. This is working. Okay, one last thing we need to do. Background color. The color switcher also needs to change the environment background. That is accessed from the main camera, so it is going to need to know who the main camera is. To be fair, I do have the camera focuser script, which if it's a singleton instance, I wouldn't even need to, I can just access it from there. It is a singleton instance. So then I can take this camera focuser and just access the camera from there. And that way I avoid having a lot of references on the object, right? Public update. Public update. Why on the update? Because when I change levels and I change the color of the levels, I'm going to want it to fade from one to another. That's just going to be a nicer effect, right? Public update, and this is, we're also going to need a float, that is the lerp factor. And so we go on update, and we'll go on update. It doesn't need to be public, void update. And then we take this script, camera focuser, instance, and the main camera, the camera component. And from the camera component, we're going to need to do a little bit of Googling because I don't know how to get the environment background from it. But I mean, it'd be easy, right? Environment. Yep. Unity. Camera component. Component camera. Clear flags. Focal left. Viewport rect. Details. Target display. I want the scripting API actually. Camera. Camera. A camera is a device through which the player views the world. Amazing. Wow. Okay. What we want is called background in environment. So background color. Background color. That's exactly what we want. Okay. Background color. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. This. There you go. Background color equals color point lerp. I want to lerp from the background color to the actual desired background color, using as our guide the lerp factor multiplied by time point delta time. And what does that do, right? That should do it so that accessing that variable every frame is probably not wise. Type or namespace definition or in the file expected. A get or set accessor is expected. What the fuck are the color system 13? Okay. Camera color series the camera background color equals color point lerp. What the fuck are you talking about? 9. So thing number 9. And 9. Yeah, 9 is where it starts. Oh. So I forgot this. Forgot those. You need those two when you define functions, otherwise they just freak out. The compiler doesn't like it. I gotta say, this Vtube Studio facial tracking is not perfect, right? And there's like it's too laggy for my taste, but it works a lot better than I thought it would. I can just it doesn't lose me as much as I thought it would when I was testing it, you know? Although maybe that's just because I'm focused on something else. Whatever. Let's see. Okay, so what I want is now I have this, right? And the idea is that if I change this color, it would be able to change the color of the background very easily. So the idea is when I change to like a different level set, I can just switch this, like this field would be deleted and replaced by another one, and that other one would have its own colors here. So if I replace it for like red, it doesn't do shit. Okay. So what is going on? Camera focuser, instance, camera component, background color. Okay. Are you going into here and change that? You're not. If I change that, will it work? It would, right? So camera focus, field. So the background color is changed. You're going to, oh, I know what it is. Lerp factor is 0. It should be 0. 20. Yep, there you go. Then like 20 is way too much. 10. How about 5? Yeah, the idea would be to have a first set of tutorial levels where you get like this sort of gray color, right? So like it seems very default, right? And it seems at first like the game is just going to be in grayscale, and then we start introducing different colors as we introduce different mechanics, right? But like it works. This works. Okay. Let's remember to change that lerp factor. Because I said it while I was in input mode, in play mode, and that means that it won't save. There we go. And yeah, and I think that is the color system done. Okay, for it being a shorter stream and me being so very obviously faded from the long day today, I think this is very good progress. Which also means that I'm going to be leaving right now, because that coffee I drank at the beginning of the stream, it helped, but it didn't just fix it. It wasn't the 4 hours of streaming energy that I thought it was going to be. So, which I shouldn't be surprised. Which how much coffee I drink, I shouldn't be surprised by how much it affects me. Like I should know that already. I should have a very good meter for that. But I guess I don't. I guess I got hopeful. That's what happened. I got hopeful. I wouldn't normally make that mistake, but I was really hopeful that time. Whatever. I'm happy with the progress today. I'm gonna have more time to do more of this tomorrow, and we're definitely going to finish the to-do list tomorrow, unless one of these two things ends up being just insanely difficult, right? Which the door might be the door. It's not a door. You know, we'll see. But yeah, that's me for today. I'm happy with the progress I made. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.